And it's in that context that our officials, my colleagues, have been working with their American colleagues on detailed, constructive negotiations, discussions on specific transactions, specific sectors, steel, aluminum, and energy. And a lot of progress has been made. And we stand ready to pick up on that progress and build on that progress when the Americans are ready to have those discussions, because it will be for the benefit of workers in the United States, workers in Canada, and families in both of our countries.
Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney expressed on Friday that his government remains prepared for constructive discussions with the United States, even after President Donald Trump abruptly ended all trade negotiations.
All right, good morning. Look, for months we have stressed the importance of distinguishing things we can control and things we can't control. We can't control the trade policy of the United States. We recognize that that policy has fundamentally changed from the policy in the 1980s, 1990s, 2000s. And it's a situation where the United States has tariffs against every one of their trading partners to different degrees. And it's in that context that our officials, my colleagues, have been working with their American colleagues on detailed, constructive negotiations, discussions on specific transactions, specific sectors, steel, aluminum, and energy. And a lot of progress has been made. And we stand ready to pick up on that progress and build on that progress when the Americans are ready to have those discussions, because it will be for the benefit of workers in the United States, workers in Canada, and families in both of our countries. Now, what we can control, absolutely, is how we build here at home. And that's the focus of Budget 2025, generational investment here in Canada. And what we can also control, or at least heavily influence, is developing new partnerships and opportunities, including with the economic giants of Asia, which is the focus of this trip.
The Canadian remarks came hours after Trump cited a video advertisement produced by Ontario's provincial government as the reason for ending trade talks. The ad included archival footage of former President Ronald Reagan criticizing tariffs. On Truth Social, Trump wrote, "The Ronald Reagan Foundation has just announced that Canada has fraudulently used an advertisement, which is fake, featuring Ronald Reagan speaking negatively about tariffs. They only did this to interfere with the decision of the U.S. Supreme Court and other courts. Tariffs are very important to the national security and economy of the USA. Based on their egregious behavior, all trade negotiations with Canada are hereby terminated." Trump also accused Canada of attempting to influence the U.S. Supreme Court, which is reviewing legal challenges to his tariff measures. Ontario Premier Doug Ford responded by pausing the advertisement to allow trade talks to resume. White House National Economic Council Director Kevin Hassett told Fox News that Trump's decision reflected frustration with Canadian negotiators.
Yeah, obviously the President Truth, something that reveals his frustration with the actions and postures of the Canadians through months of negotiations, and we'll see how it goes.
Mr. Hassett, on Canada, you said the President was frustrated, but is this just a knee-jerk reaction?
I think the frustration has built up over time. I've been involved in some of these negotiations, and the Canadians have been very difficult to negotiate with. And you look at all the countries around the world that we've made deals with, and the fact that we're now negotiating with Mexico separately reveals that it's not just about one ad, that there's frustration that's built up.
And is he planning to speak with the Prime Minister Carney when they're both in Asia this week? Because this ad had nothing to do with Carney's government.
I don't have any information on that.
Mr. Hassett, just very quickly, what it has been so challenging about dealing with Canada in trade negotiations?
I guess the lack of flexibility, and also I would guess that leftover behaviors from like the Trudeau folks that can be very frustrating for people who are negotiating.
On this ad that President Trump was referring to up in Canada and Ronald Reagan, have you seen the ad, sir, yourself?
I'm not going to talk about that.
The controversial Ontario ad aired on Newsmax and Bloomberg, featuring Reagan's 1987 radio address justifying tariffs on Japanese electronics. Reagan warned of the dangers of high tariffs. High tariffs inevitably lead to retaliation by foreign countries and the triggering of fierce trade wars. Then the worst happens. Markets shrink and collapse, businesses and industries shut down, and millions of people lose their jobs. Announcing the campaign, Ford said,
"Let's take Ronald Reagan's words and let's blast it to the American people. And our first launch is going to be on every major network. We're going to launch a $75 million ad, and we're going to repeat that message to every Republican district there is, right across the entire country."
Meanwhile, Trump, on his way to attend ASEAN summit in Malaysia, said,
"View on what Canada needs to do to get things back on track."
Canada lied. I mean, what they did was terrible. They made up a fake statement by President Reagan. Reagan was a big supporter of tariffs when needed, and we need tariffs for national security, and they totally turned it around because they're getting hurt by tariffs and we're gaining by tariffs. They've used tariffs on us when we had different presidents very successfully, and they've taken a lot of money out of our country, and now we're taking it all back. And so they went out and they made a fake commercial. The Reagan Foundation went crazy when they saw it because it was, the opposite. It was the opposite of what Ronald Reagan liked tariffs, and when necessary, he would use tariffs. We're in very good shape with that. But they took a commercial saying the exact opposite, Canada. So I'm very disappointed in Canada. They lied. I mean, it was a fraud what they did. Really, I don't think there's much they can do. I just assume leave it the way it is.
Will you meet with
if you leave it the way it is, it's very good for us.
Will you meet with Prime Minister Carney during this trip?
I don't have any intention of it, no.
When someone says, "Let's impose tariffs on foreign imports," it looks like they're doing the patriotic thing by protecting American products and jobs. And sometimes for a short while it works, but only for a short time. But over the long run, such trade barriers hurt every American worker and consumer. High tariffs inevitably lead to retaliation by foreign countries and the triggering of fierce trade wars. Then the worst happens. Markets shrink and collapse, businesses and industries shut down, and millions of people lose their jobs. Throughout the world, there's a growing realization that the way to prosperity for all nations is rejecting protectionist legislation and promoting fair and free competition. America's jobs and growth are at stake.